diary. Well, it's business time as we look to secure the title and automatic promotion. So, a quick recap of what's happened so far in the Championship group. On match day 1, we continued a good record against Newry City with a 2-0 win away. A nice result without McKevitt and Cowan. We got a lovely surprise post-match too when realising Portadown grabbed 2 injury time goals to draw away at Loughgall, meaning we had a 5-point lead. We then returned to our more familiar best 11 for an away trip to Dergview, the team in third, and just didn't front at all, suffering a 2-0 defeat. Thankfully, Loughgall's poor run also continued as they were beaten 1-0 at 6th place, United. So we are still 5 points ahead with 3 games to go. That means we could secure the title in the next game if Loughgall drop points. We want to avoid the playoffs, so let's hope it's title time, Teddy. Until next time. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 18 of FMOE here with Banbridge Town on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up today we have 3 games left in the Championship group phase of the season here, and hopefully in those 3 games we can secure the league title. Otherwise we are going to come back at the start of next week and hopefully play a few playoffs instead to try and make our way up to the Premiership. So potentially this could be the last episode of Season 2 of this save. So if you are looking forward to this one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well, so you do not miss out on any new episodes when they do drop on the channel. But as you would have seen through the intro, mixed results for us in our first 2 games of this Championship group phase. A 2-0 win away at Newry City, followed by a 2-0 loss at Dergview. That puts even more pressure on us to try and avoid that promotion playoff, because we would probably, by the looks of it, be taking on Dergview in that matchup. But thankfully Loughgall as well have entered this Championship group phase in quite poor form. It is definitely a 2-horse shootout for the title here in the Championship division in Northern Ireland, and that means with 3 games to go we have a 5-point lead. That does mean that there is a chance that in this next game, if we pick up points and Loughgall drop some, that we could seal the title with 2 more matchups remaining, and that would be quite useful, because we don't want to go to the final day if Loughgall are starting to close that gap, because our last game is against those guys. First up today we take on Portadown at home, hopefully a game that we should be winning at Crystal Park, and off the back of that, away trips to United, the team who did just defeat Loughgall on that most recent match day, and then there is that potential title clinching matchup at Crystal Park on the final day of the season. Hopefully with that 5-point gap that we do have, it does not get that far and we can steal the title and automatic promotion up to the Premiership. The first 2 potential opponents in today's episode, and hopefully the only 2 opponents that we might need. We might only need the first one, but the first of those is Portadown, followed by United. As you can see, they are still somewhat in the hunt to claim that 3rd playoff spot, but it does look like Dergview do have the edge in that battle. So hopefully we do find this game a little bit easier than that last one that we did play against those guys and lost, and a little bit more similar to the previous one against Newry City, where we did pick up a 2-0 win. If we do win the next 2 games, we are going to seal the title anyway. In terms of our squad, going into the first game of today's episode of a potential 3 games, if things do not quite go to plan, McKevitt is back up front, and also Chris Cowan comes back into the squad as well after missing from yesterday's episode. Having picked up a suspension, that does mean that Sean Quinn, our young wonder kid, he drops down to the bench, just like that partnership that OG Gallagher and Cowan have built up, and the same can be said for McDowell and McKevitt, even though McKevitt is only recommended to play 60 minutes in this game. So it's pretty close to our first choice 11 that we have had for the most part here at Banbridge Town this season. Just one change. Lewis Tosh does come in for a suspended captain in Bobby Higgins, and one of our other youngsters in Connell Jones. He also came through this year's youth intake. 1-star current ability with 4-star potential. He can play centre back as well as left back. He will sit on the bench, albeit ideally we would not use him in a game of this magnitude where we could potentially try and steal the title. But as you can see, pretty close to where our best 11 has been for most of the season here at Banbridge Town. And as I said, if results go our way, we could lift the title at the end of this game at Crystal Park and get promotion up to the Premiership. Back-to-back promotions will come back shortly from Crystal Park, and hopefully, if results go our way, get the job done as we take on Portadown. And only 1 minute into this one, the first highlight is a corner in our favour as Cowan whips that one into the mixture. We are in the red, Portadown are in the grey, and bar their goalkeeper does come out and claim that. They are also playing a 4-4-2 in this one. It's the exact same formations for both teams, and Portadown did try and get on the attack there, but thankfully McCann does clear that one, albeit they might still get a chance there on the attack, but good work from Snodden to head that one down in the midfield. But then Wilson robs Cowan of the ball. It's a good early chance here for the opposition, but thankfully his shot goes well over the bar, so a good early chance there for Portadown. Thankfully, we do get away with one there, but now they are back inside the final third, and they get a header off here. That one goes over the bar, so early stages, Portadown are on top of things here, but it remains 0-0 coming up to the 10-minute mark. And about 10 minutes off the back of that previous early flurry of highlights in favour of Portadown, they have another throw-in inside the final third, and Devine gets his head on the end of that one. Potentially Lewis Hunter could have done a bit better to try and keep that one out of the back of the net, but to be fair to them, they have well and truly dominated the early stages of this one and probably deserve that 1-0 lead. Definitely Hunter there could have done better, but not too many complaints as we go 1-0 down early, and Loughgall are beating Dergview by 2-0. And going forward a few minutes shy now of half time, we do have a free kick here inside the half of Portadown. They do get the ball back there, but Cowan is able to get in the way. We'll play that one back for McDermott. Nice ball over the top there for Rob. Puts this into the mixer, and Jay McDowell with our first real attack of the game off the back of that opening corner, which wasn't overly threatening. Puts the ball in the back of the net, and we grab an equaliser here at Crystal Park. Nice work there from Rob, and the striker in on loan from Linfield puts that one past the goalkeeper. We have certainly been on the back foot for most of this game, but it does look like we might get into half-time locked up at 1-1, so certainly can play a lot better than that, but not too disappointed with the scoreline, all things considered. But we are definitely going to make a few changes come way on a poor rating. Callum McLaughlin can come on for him. Now I think that might do it for now, but not overly happy with how we're playing, but we are still in a decent position. 1-1 as we kick off the second half. And near enough to 10 minutes into the second half, we're going to take off both those players who are coming back from suspension and injury, neither of them performing that well. So Sean Quinn will come on for Cowan, and also Kirk McLaughlin for McCavitt as we enter the last half hour, still locked up at 1-1. And just as I was about to wrap up that highlight, there is a free kick here in favour of Portadown, but luckily they put a little bit too much on that one. Hunter comes out to claim it, pumps this one deep, but no one puts pressure on Cole there, and he will try and loop a ball in behind our defence, but Snodden is there to tidy things up. Tosh will play that one forward to McLaughlin, just does enough to keep possession for us here, and now Tosh plays the ball over the top for him. He does get in behind of the Portadown defence, is right on the edge of the box here, might take this on himself. He squares it for Kirk McLaughlin, hits the post. That is a massive chance, unfortunately doesn't find the back of the net, and with just under a half hour left, it is still 1-1. And with 20 minutes to go in this one, we are going to make another substitution. Jay McDowell did get that goal late in the first half, but he is really struggling in terms of his fitness. We want to keep him available for those last couple of games just to be safe. So with that in mind, we'll do a bit of a shuffle up, and Maguire will come on for him, and hopefully we can find a winning goal here inside the last 20 minutes. And we have just entered the last 10 minutes of this game, still 1-1. We're going to make our final change. McCann down to a red heart, also not doing that well on a 6.4. And hopefully that might inspire something, despite the fact that it is a centre-back substitution. But we are now on the attack. Maguire, quite fortunate there to keep possession. OG Gallagher tries to get a shot off. It was blocked, and it could actually be a chance here for Portadown on the counter-attack. But Sean Quinn there gets the ball back for us. McLaughlin squares it For the other McLaughlin, it's McLaughlin squared, and we grab a goal to put us in front here with only 7 minutes left. Off the back of that, we'll just adjust a few things in terms of opposition instructions. We'll make sure we're not going to get a silly red card amongst other things, and also we are going to go to cautious and just slow things down a bit to try and make sure we do not blow this lead, because this would put us right on the verge of sealing the title no matter what does happen in that Loughgall game. Good work there from seeing Quinn off of the bench. He gets the ball back, nice ball forward to Kirk McLaughlin, squares it for Callum McLaughlin, and we grab a 2-1 lead here with only a few minutes left as we are about to enter injury time. In this one, there is going to be 5 minutes. As you can see still, it's been quite an even game. We've been trying to work that back to even Stevens off the back of a pretty poor first half, but thankfully we come from behind and pick up a 2-1 win here at Crystal Park. No trophy lifts, so we'll just go forward and make sure that is because Loughgall did also pick up a win. Of course, last season we didn't get a trophy lift even when we did steal the title, so we're a little bit cautious here of just making sure that we are still going to have a battle in this next game coming up against Anna United, but that could be the game where with a win or even maybe a point, we could secure the league title. And as you can see, Loughgall indeed did hold on for that 2-0 win, so it does mean we are still 5 points clear with 2 games to play here in this championship group phase. So we'll come back shortly and hopefully get the job done with a win away at Anna United. And we are back for the second to last game of the season with team sheets. There are Anna United in decent form and playing with a 4-3-3. We've made a few changes. Quinn comes in for Cowan. He is suspended yet again, and also Higgins is back at left back, but those are our only 2 changes. It should actually make our team a little bit stronger in theory, and hopefully we can pick up enough points here to seal the title and automatic promotion. And just 1 minute into this game, it looks like it's going to be a free kick here in favour of Anna United today. We are in the black and Law is lining this one up for quite a while, and Glenn Law with a superb free kick, and that is not the start that we wanted so far in today's episode. We have got off to some fairly sluggish starts, and this time it comes to bite us very, very early on. A very good free kick there, not much Hunter can do about that, and we go 1-0 down early away from home. And about halfway through the first half, we have our next highlight here, and we have a throw-in just inside of our own half. I am keeping an eye out on the other matchups. Obviously, Loughgall hosting Newry City. That one is locked up at 0-0 at the moment. So with the scoreline, if Loughgall can pick up a win in that game, they would keep the title race alive going into that final day of the season. We try and pump a ball deep there, but unfortunately, no one can get on the end of it. But now Quinn is in possession. Lovely ball forward there for McDowell. He tries to square it, but nobody is home. But then they boot it deep, and Higgins will lump this for McDowell. Just runs off the shoulder of his defender. He thumps that past the goalkeeper at his near post. And a little bit surprisingly, we grab an equaliser here at Anna United. That goal almost coming out of nowhere. Good work there from McDowell. A little bit too much strength, it looks like, and thunders that into the roof of the net, and we make it 1-1 about halfway through the first half. And right on the verge of half-time in this first half, it is still 1-1 here. We put a ball into the mixer for Lumi Conway, but unfortunately puts that one over the bar, and it is going to be 1-1 here at half-time yet again. We're probably going to make a couple of changes here at half-time, but the big news is that it's 1-1 here, 0-0 still between Loughgall and Newry City. The last time I saw things, that would mean this result is enough for us to seal the title. We're going to make a few changes. Kirk McLaughlin coming on for McCavitt just hasn't quite been in as good a form since he has come back from his injury. Also, Shay Conway can come on for OG Gallagher. He picked up a yellow card. We do like that midfielder to be a ball-winning one, and that does mean that they do get stuck into tackles. So obviously being on a yellow card, not ideal, but we'll tell the boys to just rev up a little bit more for the second half in this one and hopefully go on to secure the title. And just around the hour mark, we have our first highlight here of the second half. It is Anna United who are in possession. Quinn there with a loose first touch. It gives McCann a chance here for Anna United, but thankfully Hunter comes up with a big save there, and we keep the scoreline at all square. As we mentioned at half time, this would be enough for us to lift the title the way that things are going. In the Loughgall game, chance there for McGuinness from that corner, puts it over the bar, and now we are down the other end. We put a ball into the mixer ourselves, but McLaughlin just puts that one over the bar, and we are going to make a substitution while we are here. Lumi Conway only going okay out there on a 6.5 in the left midfield position, and Cullen McLaughlin did perform very well for us late in that previous game. He can come on for him, and hopefully we can pick up one more goal to just make sure that we do go up, albeit not too long off the back of that substitution. It was potentially a highlight there in favour of Anna United, but Quinn does get the ball back for us. Hoofs it deep. That's a shocking tackle from Snodden, and this could put us in a lot of trouble late in this one. He gets a straight red card. That means we're going to have to make a substitution here, and probably we are going to take off Kirk McLaughlin, quite fresh on the pitch, for Odran Ferry, and we can play with Run Striker up front for the remainder of this game. It shouldn't change too much apart from the fact we might be a little bit less lethal in terms of going forward, but that was a poor challenge there from Snodden. He sees red, and all of a sudden, if Loughgall can get a goal, this could give them a chance to take this into the final game of the season. Also, we're going to chuck our wingers on support instead of on attack, and we will go to a balanced mindset, but this does look like quite a dangerous area for Law based on what he did do early in this game. He is a free kick here right inside that circle, but thankfully it comes crashing off of the bar and we get that one away, and hopefully that is that highlight done and dusted. Indeed, it looks like that might be the case. 20 minutes left and still 1-1 here and 0-0 at Loughgall. And a few minutes off the back of that previous highlight with that red card, I think we're just going to play things safe here late in this one and make sure we don't get any more red cards. So that means that Rob is going to come off here with 14 minutes to go. But coming on for him, it will be Bradley Maguire. And hopefully we can hold on here to grab a point and try and see out this title win. And we've just entered the last 10 minutes of this game. I think it's time for us, especially down to 10 men, to start to time waste a little bit. Also regroup when possession has been lost, and as well as that, slow the pace down when our goalkeeper does get the ball, but it is now a corner for Anna United. They put that one into the mixer. We head it away, but Law, who has been a thorn on our side all day, will square that one for Stephen Murray. And now Loughgall, if they can get a goal in that other game, could still keep this title race alive, because we have gone down here away at Anna United. Law has had a superb game, just gets in behind our defence, and Murray puts that one away nicely in the bottom left corner. So off the back of that, we are going to pretty much tear up everything that we did just do before in terms of time wasting and go back to our regular playing style. And hopefully we'll just see if Loughgall do get a goal back or not. If they don't, I think a draw in that game, they will still be 4 points behind us. So it should still be our title if that is the case. But if they do get a late goal in that game, that opens this one up completely, and it could go down to the final game of the season. It looks like that's going to be 0-0, and we win the championship title here at Banbridge Town. It is back-to-back titles, and it's going to be back-to-back automatic promotions. We limp across the line somewhat in the championship group phase with 2 wins and with 2 losses, so not great form from us in the latter part of the season, but the same can be said for Loughgall, and that is why we are lifting the title with 1 game spare. Thankfully, it doesn't go down to that final game of the season, because Loughgall are quite a good team. They did pick up the Mid-Ulster Cup in amongst that run home as well, but we do pick up the title with 1 game to spare, even though we suffer a 2-1 defeat here away at Anna United, not helped, of course, by that red card to Dylan Snodden. But if we are going to stay here at Banbridge Town, that does mean we have Premiership football to look forward to next season here on FMOE. Obviously, not a great day at the office for us, especially off the back of that red card to Dylan Snodden, but nonetheless, we have picked up the title, so we can't be too harsh on the boys, and we'll just go forward a little bit and see what happens in the inbox off the back of that title win. And there is the confirmation in the inbox. The happy days there, despite the fact that we did kind of limp over the line there in the latter stages of this season. The bit I am interested in is having a look at the initial budgets. There were already some teams down here in the Championship, the likes of Portadown and Newry City, who were relegated from the Premiership last season, who had a much, much larger wage budget than we did. So it's going to be interesting to see how much it does go up if we do want to be competitive. Up in the Premiership, we have zero transfer budget, £1,800 a week. It's still going to be very, very tough for us to make much of a mark in the Premiership with a budget like that. But to be fair, it is still £1,000 more than we did have to work with here this season. And also, Connor Downey is moving to solely a physio role next season, so that should mean we get a little bit more wage budget there as well, because that was pretty much what we were paying him for anyway, but it was coming out of the player wage side, seeing as he was also a player as well. So it's still going to be tough for us if we do stay here next season, but a decent little increase there to the wage budget. But it's going to be interesting to see what jobs do become available potentially over the off-season if we do decide to stay here at Banbridge Town. But obviously a few players here that would like to see how they get on, most notably someone like Sean Quinn. As you can see, the fans are happy with us, the board are ecstatic with us, and we go up a little bit more. Higgins praises us being the captain. We are crowned champions, and a few bonuses do get paid out there to Connor Downey to keep him happy as a player who played stuff all for us this season, and he can move on nicely into that physio role next season. But we'll play the game off camera against Loughgall, seeing as there is nothing wrong on that one anymore, and we'll come back off the back of that and do our end of season review. And we are back with the end of season review here for 2023-24 here at Banbridge Town. As you can see, we did pick up that championship title, as you saw only a moment ago. First off, we start off with the transfers, and we should actually have a few options this season for our signing of the season. The best player in terms of average rating on loan was Thomas Sustek in from Warren Point Town, a team from the Premiership, but the player who played the most games with the best average rating, Jay McDowell on loan from Linfield. But the best actual signing that we made, according to the board, was Lumi Kamwe. He made 43 appearances this season, so we did get through quite a bit of football when you do include the cup competitions. Only 2 goals but 10 assists. Not quite as good as he was last season, but that was probably expected rising up to the championship, and still did a good job making sure he was still a good buy-in after we loaned him in last season to join us here at Banbridge Town. But most players that we did bring in had a decent rating. A few further down who were only okay, but still not bad work in terms of the players that we did bring to the club when you do consider the limited wage restrictions we do have here at Banbridge Town. In terms of transfers out, there was only the one, and that was Rui Alves moving to Alvarenga, and they are a team in Portugal, of course, with Rui Alves being Portuguese. We go over to the season results. Obviously, we did pick up the league title, but as you can see, a very, very close run thing in the end, albeit that last game didn't have a lot riding on it, but we did suffer a 5-2 defeat at home against Loughgall. That was not helped out by the fact that this time Stephen McCavitt picked up a red card in the first half, so obviously off the back of that, we were kind of caught out, even though it was a striker who did get sent off. But up until that moment, a fairly even game, being 2-1 in Loughgall's favour. But from there, Loughgall far too good for us. So thankfully, Loughgall did drop points in that previous game. Otherwise, we might have been heading into the playoffs. But Loughgall are going to take on Dergview in a playoff to see who plays the team who finished second bottom in the Premiership, to see if they can go up to that division next season based on their form this season. I think it's fair to say they probably also deserve to get promoted. The Irish Cup, we got knocked out in the first round by Linfield. No shame in that, with Linfield being quite a big club here in Northern Ireland. The League Cup, we made our way all the way through to the quarterfinals before Crusaders did beat us by 3-1. Probably one of our most frustrating losses of the season, considering they went down to 10 men in that game just before they did grab the lead. And in the Mid-Ulster Cup, as I said, this was won by Loughgall, but we got beaten yet again by a Premiership team, and this time that was Glenavon by 1-0. So we weren't able to pick up a cup competition this season, but we don't really care because we are going up to the Premiership next season. The moments to remember biggest win was 5-0 in the Banbridge derby pretty early on in the season here. The match to remember was the league game where we took on Loughgall at home and picked up a 3-2 win. I believe that one was at the start of this week, and the goal of the season was scored by OG Gallagher in a 3-0 win at home over Harland and Wolf Welders in November. This wasn't too long off the back of us taking the lead in this game off the back of a penalty, but they do head this one away, and OG Gallagher one touch and puts that one nicely into the right-hand corner. Certainly not a bad goal, not too sure if it's as good as the goal, which won goal of the season last season. That one was scored by a player in on loan named George Herbert, I believe, from memory, but certainly a good goal. Probably deserves to be goal of the season, but there would have been a fair bit of competition for that award. I do believe that the OG does pick up goal of the season here in 2023/24. In terms of finances, everything goes up except the competition prize money, which is a little bit surprising, but I suppose that might be due to the fact we did not pick up a win in the Irish Intermediate Cup, which does seem a little bit strange because that competition is quite low down the pecking order here in Northern Ireland, but still the prize money certainly down quite significantly compared to last season, but everything else takes a nice big rise, so that should make up for that. And also the club reputation has gone up to national now from a half star to a full star, and we made £185 in terms of merchandise sales this season, making the big bucks there off of the sales of those Banbridge Town shirts. Our best 11 for this season: Hunter in goal, McDermott, Stone, Ferry and Higgins at the back. I suppose that's fair enough. Ferry you could argue with, but he was the only player who was here for most of the season, so I suppose that is why he gets that spot at centre back alongside Dylan Snodden, when of course you do consider a player like Peter Maguire did only last on loan up until December. The midfield: Rob, OG, Cowan and Conway. That is the midfield we started for most of the season, and up front Stephen McCavitt and Jay McDowell, obviously the front two who were the four men for most of the season. And we make our way forward to the awards. The fans player of the season and the young player of the season was the loanee from Linfield in Jay McDowell, signing of the season and goal of the season. You did just see before the top goal scorer was Stephen McCavitt with 26, and the most assists did go to Sam Robb with 12. Probably a player who isn't going to be good enough for the Premiership next season, but is quite useful being able to play on both sides of midfield. So might be a player we do keep around just because of that alone. The most man of the matches and the highest average rating did go to Jay McDowell, probably why he did pick up those awards. And the most passes per 90 is a bit of a silly one, but it did go to Dylan Snodden. In terms of competition awards, we won none of them, but in terms of managerial awards, we picked up the Manager of the Month in October, November and March. And the record breakers: Stephen McCavitt, the most league goals by a player in a season with 25, most goals by a player in a match with 3, most clean sheets by a player in a season, Lewis Hunter with 15. Jay McDowell picked up the most player of the matches in a season. Chris Cowan with the worst discipline, 13 yellow cards, 1 red card. That's why it was quite useful, the timing of when Sean Quinn did come along. Obviously a player, if we stay here at Banbridge Town, we will certainly look forward to using a bit more next season. Most league appearances by a player and most league goals by a player did go to McCavitt. The youngest player and youngest goal scorer did go to Sean Quinn off the back of him making his debut off the back of that youth intake. And Stephen McCavitt scored the fastest goal at the 18-second mark, and we go forward in history in the making with us getting promoted to the Premiership. And really for most of the season, it was a 2-horse race between us and Loughgall. Thankfully, we just do enough to make sure it is us going up automatically instead of those guys. We make our way over to the Dynamic Manager timeline. We'll go forward a little bit because at the moment, this is all of the stuff from last season, but we go forward a little bit further. There you can see where we left things off in terms of Max Fisher being the most prolific goal scorer. So we go forward a bit more, and there you can see what we have done since you were last here. We signed a few players at the start of this season, and we go forward a little bit more. We signed Stephen McCavitt to a new 1-year contract in July as well, so not too much there that is overly notable. We go forward a bit more. into 2024. There you can see the players we did sign in the youth intake, the likes of Sean Quinn, Richard Pollock and Connell Jones, and we picked up the championship in this season and have now risen through the leagues to go up to the Premiership, and that will do it for the Dynamic Manager timeline. So not too much getting added there this season at Banbridge Town compared to the last one, and that will do it for the end of season review. We go down a little bit further and we can see the players inducted into the overall best 11. Kurt McLaughlin, Sam Robb, Reece McDermott, Odran Ferry and Bobby Higgins all get added to the squads at the moment. Hunter in goal, Sodjay at left back alongside Snodden and Steers at centre back, and Lee McLaughlin from last season. At right back, the midfield, Cumway, Cowan Gallagher and Ronan Culler from last season. Up front, the two strikers from this season in McCavitt and McDowell, Higgins, Ferry, Robb, Connor Downey, Max Fisher, Reece McDermott and Kurt McLaughlin are on the bench. So that's where our best 11 does look like off the back of 2 years here at Banbridge Town. In terms of the club vision for next season, should we stay, it's pretty much just to avoid relegation. I think that is fair enough, so we're going to accept that, because I can't imagine we'll pull up many trees based on our form in those cup competitions so far in the save when we have taken on teams from up in the Premiership. And also, if we go down just a little bit more, you can see an update to the supporter profile here at Banbridge Town. Less core fans, more fair weather fans, which does seem a little bit interesting off the back of us picking up back-to-back title wins and going up to the Premiership. And they also now want us to make the most of set pieces, albeit not quite as important as playing directly and counter-attacking football. But I think that will pretty much do it for the end of Season 2 of FMOE here at Banbridge Town. Thankfully going up automatically without the stress of any playoffs like Loughgall will have to deal with. Just one other thing before we do leave things at the end of Season 2, a quick look over at the job centre. There's a few jobs available in the UK. You can see I've actually applied for one in terms of Derby County, because that could be interesting, but I think that's probably something which is a little bit too high above us at the moment, and none of the other jobs look overly interesting. In Northern Ireland, it's teams from down in the 3rd tier, and over in Wales, it's teams from a similar level to where we have just got promoted from. So I think unless we get a good job offer from a big club or a club fairly high up the pecking order in England or somewhere like that, I think we might be staying at Banbridge Town next season, especially off the back of that addition of Sean Quinn in that youth intake, which we did cover off in yesterday's episode, but we'll come back at the start of next week. And if anything changes, obviously, you'll get an update about it then. But that will do it for Season 2 of FMOE here at Banbridge Town. Back-to-back promotions and league titles, just getting the job done by 1 point over Loughgall. If you did enjoy today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Until the start of next week for Season 3 of FMOE, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.